Should Kylo Ren have returned? Some say yes, and some say no. But today, we're really going to look at should Kylo Ren have returned in The Hunt for Ben Solo, the now often cited movie that's been going on the internet. So for those of you who don't know, The Hunt for Ben Solo was about Kylo Ren after he died from in the end of The Rise of Skywalker. They put the script together. They had it all worked out. Kathleen Kennedy signed off. They were actually, I think, about to film. And Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, said, no, this is not going to happen. We cannot film this because Kylo Ren is dead. He cannot come back. Yes, I've got this Kylo Ren lightsaber. It's cheap, sadly, but I figured I'd bring it out for the video. Of course, there is a point to that, but so what's going on right now is some people really want to see the movie because Adam Driver is one, a great actor. Two, Kylo Ren was probably the coolest character to come out of the not very great sequel trilogy, and three, like, why wouldn't you want to see it? It was also done by an extremely great director who had written really good heist movies such as Ocean's 11, 12, 13, and Logan Lucky. And so some people really did want to see this movie, and I can understand that. While others didn't want to see it because one, it would mess with the Star Wars canon, and we'll get to all this. It would mess with the Star Wars canon. Um, do we really need to see another Star Wars movie about Ben Solo? That's true. And another complaint that I once heard, because I went through a lot of videos on this, I listened to a lot of people, I read a lot of articles, and something I heard from one person was, if they did make a movie about Ben Solo, they would probably bring back like Rey or some of the other characters that we didn't really enjoy. Me personally, I did not really like Rey. Kylo Ren was the coolest person to come out of the sequel trilogy. So let's actually look at, should we have gotten the movie, and what are some good points for and against it. So for me personally, I actually wouldn't have minded seeing the movie. I think that Adam Driver is an outstanding actor. I love his work. He's got great range. He does a great job at anything, and he was outstanding as Kylo Ren. And like his lightsaber is the coolest. Like he was sick. They didn't do a great job with the character, so it would be fun to see a movie actually written by someone who was competent and in charge and had a real vision of what he was doing. And it would have been cool to just see his story continue, especially after the Rise of Skywalker, see what happened to him, how he coped with everything. And I think that would have been really cool to see. And, you know, there is the problem of he did die, but this is from the company that said somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
And, you know, at the end of the day, it's just okay. I mean, we can work past this. There's got to be something about the Force diet that they had that they could have worked to bring him back. And so I do think it would have been really cool to see a movie, especially because Disney isn't coming out with great Star Wars movies. The Mandalorian Grogu does not look very interesting. Star Wars Starfighter isn't due for another year. The last good show that came out was Andor. And so I think that this actually probably could have been really good for the Star Wars franchise. Now, for some negative sides. One, Kylo Ren did die, and I am a big believer in canon. I really hate what they did with the sequel trilogy, and it ruined a lot of what was canon and good in Star Wars. And so I wouldn't like to see that continue, which is a big point about this, is because the whole movie is based around the fact that he came back. And something else that the point was brought up is if Bob Iger really shut this down, like he seems on board for like anything to make money. They probably didn't address it that well about him coming back, the way that he came back. And so maybe if they addressed it well, maybe he would have let it come out. But it doesn't seem like it was addressed well, and so he decided not to send it out, which is true. Another thing is also Kathleen Kennedy. I'm pretty sure she's on her way out, and honestly, she hasn't done a great job with the Star Wars franchise. I think I can say that pretty objectively. I think some of the Star Wars movies are some of the most controversial and debated movies out of everything, as well as the TV shows, the whole shebang. And so she really signed off on another movie. Do we really want to see it? Maybe we should just wait until the next era of Star Wars continues. And, you know, if she did bring it back, like they were probably going to bring back characters from the old movies, which I didn't really want to see. I didn't want to see Rey, Finn, Rose, Poe. Like, no, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing Poe. Oscar Isaac is a really good actor. He is an outstanding actor. I don't really think the other couple are. But at the end of the day, it was canceled, and I do think that was the right decision in the end because one, I think the that era needs to end. I think we need to move on from those three. I would absolutely love to see a movie about Poe, a movie about Kylo Ren, but before we see it, I think we need to distance ourselves a little bit more from the sequel trilogy and the more recent TV shows and movies. And two, we should probably wait until one, Kathleen Kennedy is out, and two, hopefully they can have a better storyline for bringing him back. Because from the way it sounded, is that was probably one of the biggest problems is that they didn't have a good storyline to bring him back to life. And that does make sense. He was very much dead, but it is a little bit ironic and redundant considering what they did with Emperor Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker. It was like, how does that work? I mean, yes, it just doesn't work. So, yeah, there are a lot of problems with what went on with this, but I think at the end of the day, I'm on the side of the movie should not have been made. I think I'm on the side of that unless they can find out some really good way that they could have brought him back in a somewhat logical sense. I will go with that. And I would say that they should release this out. If they were going to do it, they would have to release it out beforehand and see if fans actually thought it was good. I think something else that is also interesting about this movie, though, is that I believe that if it was just straight up announced and not handed out in the way it was with the canceling and the script and everything, I don't think it would be getting as much publicity as it was. I think that they just released the trailer. I don't think people would really be talking about this. I think it is because it was canceled and it was on the driving block, and because everything else has not been good, I do think that it wouldn't have been, just as marketed as well. Things wouldn't have just gone as well. So yeah. So to finalize this up, I think at the end of the day, the movie sounds cool, and if what had not happened in The Rise of Skywalker, if like that just hadn't happened, I would love for this movie to come out. But due to factors such as Kathleen Kennedy, what happened in The Rise of Skywalker, and just the general state of Star Wars, I do not want this movie to come out for another 3 years until Kathleen Kennedy is gone and we have worked out more space between the sequel trilogy. We've seen the actors develop. We've seen how if it has aged any better, and we see if Star Wars Starfighter is a good movie. If Star Wars Starfighter is a good movie, I will consider the return of Ben Solo. So, if you enjoy movie news, movie reviews, Star Wars, Lego, Star Wars, more Star Wars and movies, please subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, at which point I can start monetizing this channel and I can make money and make better videos. I can do editing, cameras, more microphones, stuff like that. Please leave a like because it helps me out to see if people actually want to see more content like this, explaining like current topics, or not just straight up movie reviews, but actual like topics or what's going on. And comment what you wanted for the Ben Solo movie, because I think it would have been pretty cool if Ben Solo would have come back. I just don't think they could have done it well. So remember, let's subscribe, comment, like, and thank you so much for watching.